Though his time as Chelsea boss ended in unhappy fashion, even Frank Lampard's most ardent critics usually found one silver lining in the cloud he left behind: the raft of academy graduates moving into the first team. For years, many, including FD, had attacked the club for its failure to give opportunities to youngsters, but Lampard, aided by a transfer ban in his first summer, put paid to that trend, with the Evening Standard reporting that during his 18 months in charge, he handed over 12,500 Premier League minutes to players aged 21 or under, the most of any club in the division during that time. But given the development of those players under Thomas Tuchel, it seems that some of them would have broken through whoever was in charge. At present, Mason Mount and Reece James are nailed on starters when fit, while Chalobah, Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek have all contributed to the Blues' hot start to the season, and other products like Gallagher, Livramento, Tomori and Abraham continue to shine around Europe. So how did Chelsea's academy become the most productive in the game? How has Tuchel's arrival contributed to its success? And just how good can a player like James expect to become? On FD Explained this week, we're trying to find out. In a sense, Chelsea had an advantage in creating an academy for the future. When Roman Abramovich arrived at the club in 2004, their facilities were seen as woefully out of date, with the first team training at the Harlington ground, a pitch they had used for 3 decades, but which was actually owned by Imperial College London, and trailed the state-of-the-art complexes in progress at Arsenal and Manchester United, then the dominant forces in English football. That made it easier to argue for a total revamp, and over the first 3 years of Abramovich's tenure, Chelsea spent around £20 million establishing a new base of operations in Cobham in Surrey. Set partially underground to meet building regulations and reduce environmental impact, the Cobham complex featured 30 football pitches with 6 of Premier League standard, and a suite of player development and rehabilitation rooms, including a sauna, a hydrotherapy pool and relaxation pods. Where the Blues had previously neglected the growing field of performance analysis, coaches were now tasked with carrying out video reviews of match and training footage, enabling them to learn about the youngsters under their stewardship. The club also threw resources into finding the best possible candidates to mould promise into performance, luring in elite coaches like Paul Clement and Brendan Rodgers, as well as giving the kids access to the wisdom of world-class players like Claude Makelele, who now works as technical director of the under-23s. But innovation is a process, not an achievement, and Chelsea didn't assume that building the academy would keep them ahead of the competition. They created digital tools to track physical and technical progress, and so, when COVID hit in 2020, they used their Perfect Play app to deliver tailored training plans to youth players and then retrieve data from completed drills, which in turn allowed analysts at the club to make further tweaks to workout regimens, according to each individual's needs. So while it's taken some time to see the fruits of this system on the Stamford Bridge pitch, the current crop of stars has been edging towards the top level for a long time. In the last 8 years, the youth side won Premier League 2 twice, reached 4 UEFA Youth League finals and won 2 of them, and lifted the FA Youth Cup on 5 occasions, all while sending some of their brightest stars out on loan around Europe, bringing fees back to the Chelsea coffers and drumming up future buyers for those who failed to make the grade. All that was needed was a coach willing to build around these kids, and in Thomas Tuchel, one has finally arrived. Used to making stars, not buying them during his spells at Mainz and Dortmund, the German is a flexible tactician who arrived mid-season and therefore had to work with the players he had, as a consequence settling on a 3-back system which has since seen Mount and James reach new heights, and given Chalobah an unexpected opportunity at centre-half. And by winning the Champions League in his first 6 months, Tuchel has bought himself a huge amount of goodwill as he seeks to transition the squad from one reliant on outstanding veterans like Conte and Azpilicueta to a new, vibrant attacking team with roots planted deep in West London. And James could well be his best work so far. In many ways, Reece James sums up the strength of Chelsea's academy and of Tuchel's contribution. It's easy to forget, but he might not have been a Chelsea starter this campaign, as the Blues were heavily linked with Achraf Hakimi in the summer, who produced 15 goals and assists in 29 games as Inter won Serie A last term. And while James was certainly regarded as a talented prospect, it was widely felt that he was a step behind elite right-backs like Trent Alexander-Arnold or Joao Cancelo, a view the Englishman has gone a long way to refuting in 2021-22. He may not be quite as good a passer as Trent, as positionally versatile as Cancelo, or even as good defending one-on-one as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but James has no true weaknesses, and as a wing-back in Tuchel's setup, his athletic and creative strengths are maximised, allowing him to remain high up the field with 51% of his touches coming in the opposition third, compared to 39% last season. Looking at the stats, it's clear that James is less involved in building from deep, with his passes into the final third dropping from 3 a game to 2, but that's because he's already up there, receiving 6 progressive passes each match compared to around 4 in the last 2 seasons. The aim here is clearly to have the fullback available to deliver the final ball, and he's now established himself as one of the best in England at doing so, creating a massive 2.8 chances per 90 minutes, up from 1.6 last season, and amazingly placing 5th among all Premier League players, behind only Grealish, Trent, De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. Tuchel's tactical scheme sees the attackers occupy opposition defenders while the wingbacks burst into the box to find space, and both James and Ben Chilwell are getting free with shocking regularity. Among Chelsea players with at least 5 90s this season, James is 4th and Chilwell is 5th for touches in the penalty area, with both ranking in the top 5% of fullbacks for touches there and for expected goals and assists per 90. And when it comes to shooting, that space makes all the difference. James takes just 0.8 shots a game, barely up from 0.5 last year, but the average quality of his attempts has doubled from 0.04 xg to 0.09, meaning his shots have gone from a 1 in 25 chance of becoming a goal to 1 in 11. In fact, possibly even better, given James' incredible shooting power and clean technique. Staggeringly, after 10 PL appearances to date this campaign, James has netted 4 goals and assisted a further 4, giving him more goal involvements than everyone in the league except Salah, Michail Antonio, Jamie Vardy and Emmanuel Dennis, while his expected goals and assists per 90 sit at 0.55, above Aubameyang and Harry Kane. Still, James has not turned into a winger in disguise. He wins possession for his team over 4 times a game and makes more tackles in the defensive third than in previous years, showing that he does get back into position and have an effect when he does so, also making more pressures in that zone than anyone in the squad except Jorginho, and preventing the centre-backs from facing traffic in the process. In short, Reece James has gone from potentially losing his place to one of the best wide men in the world in the space of a few months. And with his 22nd birthday just around the corner, he's already a Champions League winner and an ever-present for an elite team. If Tuchel can replicate this development with other academy graduates, the next 10 years could be scary for anyone who doesn't support Chelsea. Having given the club 2 starters in 2 years, the Cobham production line is showing no signs of slowing down. Trevoh Chalobah nearly joined West Brom in July 2021, but is now the 8th most used player at Stamford Bridge, and at 22 is already a cultured and effective defender. The Englishman wins possession 3.5 times a game and completes 86% of the tackles he attempts, compared to Tony Rudiger's 76%. While he's useful on the ball too, getting dispossessed less often than everyone in the squad except Thiago Silva, despite being an active dribbler, with 1 take on per 90, more than Werner or Havertz. Callum Hudson-Odoi may have just 1 assist in league play at present, but he continues to improve regardless, trailing only Hakim Ziyech for chances created per game on 2.6, as well as racking up an impressive 0.6 xg per 90, indicating that if he keeps getting minutes, the goals will come. And outside West London, English teams are developing Chelsea's prospects for them. Armando Broja and Billy Gilmour are seeing top-flight action for Southampton and Norwich respectively, while Conor Gallagher has forced his way into the England setup after 7 goal contributions in 12 appearances for Crystal Palace, as well as making 4 defensive actions a game and ranking 7th in the Prem for pressures per 90, good enough to make Mount look over his shoulder next season. Of the £800 million Chelsea squad is valued at, £197 million is made up of academy graduates. And it's a testament to the brilliance of the club's youth system that, according to rumour, their top transfer target is yet another former resident of Cobham, West Ham's Declan Rice. With Tuchel moulding the team on the pitch and Marina Granovskaya directing the club off it, Chelsea have risen from new money upstarts to one of the most impressive self-sustaining operations in the game. And after years of looking up to Barcelona, Man United and Arsenal, the Blues now find Europe's former superpowers trailing behind them. So that's our take on why Cobham might be the best academy in football, but who do you think can rival Chelsea? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.